honor to be here with you and to be delivering this kind of discussion. So we would proceed further. First of all, to begin, I'm very glad to be in your country, giving this Dhamma discussion, and we will go through a few points in Dhamma which maybe you could apply to your life as well. So the first thing is, I said Theruvan Saranai, which means may you have the blessing and the guidance that you need through the triple gem, which is Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So I was thinking about what is the topic that I should talk to you about. What would make things a little bit easy in this life, or to analyze something, a side which we haven't seen before. And when I was thinking in these lines, I actually thought, what is the most powerful thing that we have at the moment, that we already have, but we are only using this only up to a certain capacity? The most powerful element that we have, or the most valuable, or the most intense, you can't really put this away. You need this very badly. But at the same time, we misuse this and do not figure the value of this, which is the mind. The mind is very powerful, my friends. It is so powerful that even the modern science, as we know, have not been able to completely discover all the aspects of the mind. And we all possess this. But do we know the capacity that we can actually reach with this? Most of the time, we take a lot of things which are freely given to us in a complete different sense. But if we have to pay for it, it seems to be something completely different. We put a very high value to it. But when we have it, we either take advantage of it in different ways, or we misuse it. Or we know and understand to a certain extent, but we don't try to reach the next step or the step after that. That is maybe because we don't understand the total capacity that we actually have with the mind, and how the mind really works, and what we can make out of this, and what transforms us from one thing to the other. So let's just take a look at what this mind could really do, and where we are headed with this mind that we already have, this most valuable asset that we already possess, but we don't really know how to use it, or we think we know, but we really don't know the capacity that this could bring into our lives. So my friends, when we just take a look at this, we always have a choice in doing so many things. We always have decisions to make in life. And we make all these choices and we make all these decisions by thinking. But the thing is, most of the time, we want one thing and we do something completely different. Or we think that we're actually going towards our goal, but we want something completely different. That is because one part of us wants certain things very badly, and the other part wants another thing very badly. And sometimes we get confused in this route. You might want peacefulness, relaxation, calmness and happiness. And at the same time, your life diverts in so many other directions. So you really want one thing, but you're actually doing something completely different. And how are we going to put these two things together? Many a times, when we come to this point where we have two roads to choose, we often choose one road but don't follow through and change direction and then go on the other path. So what happens is we are losing time, and then we come back to square one and then start thinking, why am I not getting anywhere? That is, my friends, because we tend to be changing directions all the time. That may be because are we really focused on what we really want? Have we really taken time and thought about what this life is and what do I really want out of it? Yes, of course, you would have thought about this to a certain extent. But have you thought this through and through? And maybe it's time to think that what do you really want out of life? And what can you really gain out of life? Because if you start focusing on the right things, if you start focusing on the right direction, maybe your plan might work. But if you don't have a destination, you will always keep changing your path. And that will only lead you to one thing: confusion. Many of us feel stressed, complain about jobs and families and children and education and so many things. But we chose to do this. We chose certain things. We made decisions. And then when life gets complicated, we want something else. And then we change the direction. And when that gets complicated, we choose another direction. So here we are, back again in the same trap. So my friends, I would like to point out maybe about 4 avenues as a starting point. The first would be, are we disciplined enough? Do I have discipline in my life? When I say discipline, I'm not just talking about using very good words and being very kind or anything. Yes, we do practice all of that. But do we have discipline to choose what we really want in life? Are we honest to ourselves when we make this decision or when we make the choices in our life? We always try to be very honest to the outside world. But are we really honest to ourselves to begin with? Because if we're trying to show one thing to the world or the friends or the family or your partners, that makes the first confusion. Because you're trying to be something that we are really not. So when I talk about discipline, I don't mean to the outside world, but what I mean is, do you have discipline in your mind? Can we be more disciplined to our own self? Can we be more honest to our own self? Because this kind of discipline, if we practice this, my friends, this will always be with you. And this will lead you to happiness and calmness one day. This honesty and this discipline in your mind, in knowing what you really want, in knowing where you're headed, in knowing that you're changing directions, in knowing that you are jealous, in knowing that you are angry, and in knowing that you desire things. If we have this kind of discipline in our mind, that would be the first step, maybe. And then going forward from here, when we have discipline in our mind, this becomes a living reality in our lives. This brings this creates a path. We are able to see a little bit further in our life. And then through this discipline, we start experiencing something completely. We start experiencing the destinations that we really want to be, or want to reach rather. So planning out the destinations is also one thing. If you really don't know where you really want to be, there's a lot of confusion in that as well. So through the discipline, we practice honesty. And through this honesty, if you start thinking, then you are better able to analyze what's the destination you really want to reach. And when you go beyond that, you will be able to do certain things, grow in a certain way. And this growth will make you focus on certain things. You're better able to focus on your life and the decisions that you have already made, the destinations that you already want to reach. And that makes a complete plan. So by following some little steps, we are able to have a guideline in really what we want and how we are actually going to get it. But we have a problem here. I said we change directions all the time. If we are able to really see through this honesty and decide where we want to be, the direction that we want to go, and the destination that we want to reach, and we have enough focus, if we have enough focus to do that, my friends, we are able to reach a lot in life. So, focus is the main topic. You can have honesty, you can have discipline through honesty. You can make a plan where you really want to be, but you need the focus to do this. And how are we going to get this focus? How are we really going to train ourselves to be focused? Is it just by telling ourselves, concentrate and concentrate and concentrate? Have we done that before in meditations? We tell ourselves, concentrate and concentrate. And you will find that the more you tell yourself to concentrate and be focused, the more the mind keeps shifting all over the place. So we need to find a better way, a better method for concentration and to focus on certain things. By doing so, we will be able to analyze certain things much better. See, it's like a glass. If the glass is completely covered with some sort of color, say it's a black glass, you're not really able to see through this. But if the shade gets lighter and lighter and lighter, then you're better able to see this. If you're better able to see this, you're better able to decide on things. And if you're better able to decide on things, you're better able to see where you're really headed in life. And if that falls through, You know where you're going, whether you're actually going towards your destination, where you plan to go, plan to arrive, or whether you're going somewhere else. So what if, my friends, if we have a mind which is so transparent that we are able to see through, if we are able to discipline ourselves and make a plan to the destinations that we want to reach, and we have enough concentration and enough focus, maybe we will be able to see through this black glass. Maybe we are able to see through as a transparent sheet. And what if we are able to do this with our own mind? What if we are able to see exactly the thoughts that we have, exactly the actions that we are trying to do, exactly the outcome of these actions? If we are able to see through our own mind, my friends, we are definitely seeing the world. We always lose this focus. We are trying to make the world better. We are trying to make our workplaces better. We are trying to make our children better. We are trying to make our families better. We're trying to make our relationships work in a better way. But all of this is the outside world, which you have only a certain amount of control. But if you focus on your mind, which you have control most of the time, and if you're able to learn how to focus and how to control certain emotions and thoughts, simply by seeing through this, simply by seeing through the transparent sheets in the mind, you're able to judge your actions. You're able to see through what you're going to say next. You're able to see the actions that you're going to take, the decisions that you're going to make, and what results it may bring you afterwards. So, my friends, we are trying to make a better world, but shall we discover the world, a world within you, which is now, most of the time, it's covered through. So because of this colored black sheetings that you have in your mind, you can't actually discover the world that you already have within yourself. Not outside yourself, but within yourself. Lord Buddha made a statement. He said, try to discover the world which is within you. And if you discover the world which is within you, you will have all the answers that you would ever need to know. If you try to discover the world which is outside of you, you will only be able to do this to an extent. And beyond that extent, you will never be able to reach. Because the world which is outside you is uncontrollable. It keeps changing all the time. It has its own rhythm and rhyme, which is so difficult to discover. But if we can discover the world within us, then we are better able to control certain things, to know certain things, to analyze certain things. And how can we analyze this thing? How can we know the world which lies within us? I will show you a small example. If you can tell me how How do I see the spoon? Can we have some interaction from the audience? How do I see this? How do you see this?
It's an object.
It's an object. And how do we see this? How do we see this spoon? We know it's a spoon. A very simple question. How do we see this?
With our eyes.
With your eyes. So you have the object, and I have my eyes here. Does my eyeball actually see this, or is it an image in my mind that I actually see? What do I see? You know the story. The object is there. The light hits the object, and this travels to the retina, whatever. But whatever the story is, how do we actually see this spoon? Is it through the eye only? Or do we see the spoon through our eyes, or do we see the spoon through our mind? Through the mind. Can we all agree on that? How do we actually see the spoon? Through our mind. Our mind shows the spoon, which is one object which is here, through the eyes, but we need to have the visual contact. And we need to acknowledge the visual contact. If we can't acknowledge the visual contact, then we can't see the spoon. So to see the spoon, we need the object, the eye, and the visual contact of this in the mind. If we have the visual contact, information which is generated through the mind, it shows us the spoon. So we are actually seeing the spoon through the eyes of the mind. Same story. How do we actually hear? Is it only our ear, or is it the sound and the contact of the sound? And we hear this through the mind. The contact of the sound through the mind. And that's the way we hear. And the same thing, again, the nose and the smell. How do we actually smell this? Is it because of the nose, or because the smell is intact with our mind? This contact which is made in the mind, because of that contact we are able to smell. And if we take the taste, again the same story. We have the tongue and we have the taste, but can we really taste it if we don't have the mind? The contact of taste through the mind gives us sensations. And again, we have the body and the touch, and this touch is felt to the hand or the mind. Again, the mind. Because, my friends, if you imagine yourself in a coma or you're in deep sleep, do you see? You still have eyes, but you can't see. Is it just because you're closing the eyes? Smell, taste, touch, and the same thing, the mind, which is the most complicated object that we have. Now, when I say the mind, is the mind actually here, is the mind? Have you ever thought about it? Is it connected to our brain and only our cells and only our veins? Where is this? How can we actually think? How can we have thoughts? The mind and the thoughts, and there's an interconnection with this. And we are able to actually identify certain things. So my friends, when I say, if we can identify the mind and have a transparency, if this is very transparent, we are able to actually see through the mind, which makes us, again, the decisions that we take, the path that we take, the destinations that we want to arrive, if we are able to clear the blackness in the mind, if we are able to focus better, maybe we will be able to see through. Now again, we have this question of how can we focus and concentrate better? Because if we are going to see through the mind, we definitely need concentration. We definitely need focus to be able to get this transparency, see this thing, focus on this thing, concentrate on this thing. And how can we do that? Does anybody have a suggestion? How can we clear the mind? What do you think is the best technique? Can we take a vitamin to do this? A medication to do this? A certain type of drug to do this? The clarity in the mind, the light in the mind. How can we do this?
I think the basis is the ethical conduct.
Yes, definitely. That brings us to the discipline that we were talking about. Yeah? And then going further on from there, if we can't do this with a vegetable or anything that we eat, if we can't really do this with a vitamin or a drug that we take, how can we cleanse the mind? Because if we can cleanse the mind, definitely we see through things. This transparency increases. Because if the transparency increases, we have so many benefits. And if we have so many benefits, maybe this benefit will actually gain us something in this life. But how to do this? Yes?
Meditation?
Exactly. That is the only method which has no boundaries, my friends. Most of the things that we do, we put this into a framework. Our life is built on a framework. Maybe things that are passed down from teachers, from societies, from different ethical backgrounds. And we make the decision according to the framework that we already have. That means, my friends, we are actually training the mind to be in this framework. But what if we are able to find a way to break these frameworks? If there's any method or way to break the frames, which makes us see through so many things much, much faster, much clearer, with much more wisdom, and which actually makes sense end of the day, which gets us to the destination rather than we keep traveling from one place to the other, and it's just a travel that in this life that we have done, but never reaching any kind of destination. Because you see, if you keep changing directions, what you will be doing is you will be traveling without arriving. But now we are trying to focus on arriving at a better destination. So to do this, we spoke about focus and concentration and clearing the mind. And how do we actually do this? The best possible way is meditation. Meditation, if you do this, if you practice this on a daily basis, because remember we talked about discipline. It's not like you start this one time and then you do the next session in 1 month's time. That's why I spoke about discipline to begin with. To be honest to yourself and have some kind of discipline. We make some kind of plan. And we do this on a regular daily basis. And I'm not talking about meditating for hours and hours. No, I'm not talking about that level yet. I'm just talking about a method, a meditation method, maybe, that you can practice or start practicing, maybe for 10 minutes. You give time, your effort, your money, everything in your life, so much to all the other things. But why not invest this on yourself? To have clarity in your mind, because you need your mind to do every other thing. Can you tell me a 7th thing that we do without using the sight, the sound, the smell, the taste, the touch, or the thoughts? These are 6 senses. Is there a 7th thing that we can think of that we do in life which are not connected to these main 6 senses? Is there anything else? Can you think of anything else? No, right? Because everything in our life, what we do, is connected to these 6 things. And the most powerful of that is the mind. Because if you don't have the mind and the contact of the mind, you are not able to do all these 5. So the main focus should be on the mind and how you cleanse this so that you're able to see through things. And to do that, you need some kind of discipline. And what if we train ourselves in meditation techniques? A very large variation of meditation techniques. But if we try one, and if it suits you, what if you start practicing this every day? Just for 10 minutes. The first would be 10 minutes. And then gradually you increase this. Maybe to 15 or 20 or half an hour. Gradually. Very gradually. And when you do that, you don't keep checking the time. That's the golden rule. Oh, have I meditated for so long? Oh, I'm able to meditate for so long. The moment you do that, you lose your focus. Because you're actually meditating on the time rather than meditating. The moment you start meditating and then you think, have my 5 minutes gone and have my 5 minutes gone. You're actually not really focusing on the points that you should focus. You're actually you're doing some kind of focus, but you're actually focusing on the time. You're meditating on the time rather than actually meditating and trying to see through the mind. So my friends, how do we do this meditation? A simple meditation. Would anybody like to know this? How to do the meditation? Yeah. So, how do we actually train ourselves in the meditation? A very basic practice that we sit in maybe the Lotus Sutra, the Lotus position, and this Lotus position will give us a balance a body balance. It will help us in some sort of way with a straight back, or you can sit in a chair. If you have any back pain or leg pain, that's no problem. But you can start practicing this seated in the lotus position as well, because this aligns your body very well. It aligns to help you to concentrate. So when we do this, when we sit in the right position, keeping our back straight and shoulders slightly back and not bent down like this, a little bit straight faced, and keep your hands very relaxed. And then when we take one point, you need guided meditation for this first, of course, but you will take one point, maybe your breathing. But many people say when they start concentrating on the breathing, then you get distracted by other thoughts. This is the first thing that starts happening. Distracted by different thoughts. And then the moment this happens, the moment these thoughts come into your mind of maybe your house or your car or your family or your kids or your partner or your job or the project that needed to be finished or something, grocery store, flower shop, dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever. Some thought enters. And the moment this thought enters, you're trained to say, go away, go away, go away. Now, my friends, there's a different technique to do this. Just see through the thought. Let it arise. See that it has come, the thought is there, and let it pass away. Don't get attached to it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to build the stories with it. This project and that person and this person didn't call me. See, you're building a story. Don't build stories. In meditation, the first step is not to build stories. You first start focusing on your breathing. And then, why do we focus on the breathing? Because breathing is the first thing that we do in life, isn't it? The moment we are born, what do we start doing? We start to breathe. This is the simplest first thing that you do. So we go back to the roots and start concentrating on the breathing. And when you do start concentrating on the breathing, obviously you're going to have different thoughts. That's because you're conscious, your mind is not going to stop all the thoughts that it has. Let it pass through. Let this thought arise, let it be, and let it pass through. And watch this process happening. And when you watch this process happening without trying to latch on to the thoughts or hold on to the thoughts or analyze the thoughts, after a little while you will know that this thought is arising by its own. You're not doing anything. The thought is just arising. It just has a lifespan and it just disappears away. That's all. You will notice this and then come back to your concentration. Come back to your concentration. And when you keep doing this, after a point, my friends, and please don't tell, concentrate, concentrate. Where did my mind go? Concentrate. No. Don't be harsh on yourself. If you think that you have lost the concentration, just pull your mind back again to the breathing. That's what you should do. Don't be harsh on yourself. Oh, I have lost concentration. I'm thinking about something else now. Don't be harsh. Just bring your attention back to the breathing and just focus on the breathing. And when you start focusing on the breathing, after some time, you will sense that you're just relaxing with this breath. You're relaxing so much that you don't even feel the breath anymore. You will come to that point. And from there onwards, your concentration automatically starts building. Your focus automatically starts building. And when you start doing this, just try to see the next level would be how the senses starts working. How you actually sense things, visualize things, hear things, taste things, smell things, and feel things. You will know it's from a deeper part in your mind. And then you slowly detach from the desire, and you start detaching from the hate or the wrongdoings, and then you start analyzing what is in between this, which is the delusion. But you can get to that slowly. If you just start to give yourself some time and start the process by actually seeing through the mind. With the meditation, you will be better able to see through your mind. So shall we do a short meditation, and then I will take your questions after that. Be aware of your environment. The position that you're seated. The feel of the rugs, the meditation mat. Be conscious of your body. And this environment. This environment has different sounds and noises, different individuals. You may feel the coldness or the warmth which surrounds you. Know that all of these things are a part of this environment. Let all of these sensations be a part of this environment. May your mind be relaxed and your body be healed. this air which is so thin, so soft, which enters deeply into your body. And it flows gently out of your body. Watch this air which enters your body and leaves your body. This natural process which calms and relaxes your entire self, which heals you from deep within. If you have been feeling anxious, depressed, lonely, jealousy, desire, or delusions of any nature, let all of this leave your body by exhaling. Inhale the kindness, the protection, the peace, the calmness that you seek. Different thoughts may come to your mind. Bring the awareness back to this breathing. this breath gets lighter. It feels relaxed. It gives you peace. It brings you calmness. Be aware of this breathing, gently flowing through your body. Inhaling and gently exhaling. Be aware of your body. This environment, the sensation of this environment, the coolness or the warmth. The position that you're seated in. And know that you were meditating. When you're ready, take your time and gently open your eyes. I could take some questions from the audience. Yes.
Where do you live most of the time?
I live in Sri Lanka and in a place called Kandy, which is high up in the mountains, of course. But I do travel to different countries as well. How about this experience that you had with the meditation? Do you feel it might help you in any way? If you could do it, maybe a little bit. Start with small doses. Yes.
Could you mentioned about mind and the brain, two different things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you define this mind?
When we say mind, it's actually, if you go deep within and see, there's actually meditation technique also to show you this, but offhand I will give you the answer. It is actually a feeling that we have as the mind. It's a contacted feeling. We think that it's here and it's connected to here. Yes, a part of it works like that, but it's actually a feeling that we get saying we are thinking and we are doing such things. So for this feeling and this contact of feeling that we refer to as the mind. And this gets cluttered with so many different things. That's why we need to refine this and get it back to the original self, or the transparency, which is my topic to you. So if we are able to see this as a transparent sheet, we are able to better focus on the direction where we want the mind to go. Yes. Would anybody like to share their thoughts or experiences or any questions?
At a certain stage, the mind's thought takes over the meditation.
Yes. And slowly, we start seeing through the thought. We just let the thought arise, last, and then just fall away. It almost detaches you like this at one point. You're able to see the thought from, just like you're seeing it from some distant way. When we practice the meditation more and more in deeper levels, actually this same process, but in a more intense way, you're able to separate this, and you will almost feel that you're looking at the thought from some distant place, and you're able to see this arise, last, and it just disappears into nothing. And then again you focus back on the breathing. Mm-hmm. Yes.
My experience was that I was feeling a little sleepy,
Hmm.
and I know that's one of the hindrances.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the hindrances and your recommendations for working with those?
Yes, especially with the sleepiness. Actually, number one rule is that when you start meditation, if you're really tired, you shouldn't meditate through the tiredness. That is number one. That is the basic one. And the other thing is, when you actually start dozing off or start feeling sleepy, then try to focus on exactly what sleepiness brings through to you. The moment you analyze that you're feeling sleepy, the sleepiness dies away. Okay, so the technique is to know that you're actually feeling sleepy. When you practice this more, the next level would be to know that you're feeling angry, to know that you're feeling hungry, to know that you're actually thinking about this. Because that makes you focus on why you're actually thinking this. And in meditation, the moment you start to doze off, if you just wait, and you just start falling asleep. The moment you start falling asleep, if you realize this, you think, oh, I'm feeling sleepy, that's all. Don't be harsh on yourself. Just acknowledge what you're feeling. Acknowledge what you're feeling. The moment you acknowledge what you're feeling, it just starts to disappear. And then your focus, actually just concentration, just falls back again. But if you're feeling really sleepy and really tired, you shouldn't meditate at that time, because that diverts your focus in different levels and wavelengths, which you shouldn't, places that you shouldn't go, really. So you should be rested and then fit enough to actually meditate, because this is a deep exercise. It's knowing the mind. It's a very deep analysis that you do with all of these things. So you need that tiredness to go away. But when you do this, you will feel very relaxed as well. Yes. Anything else?
I was feeling very distracted by just minor pains that seemed to be much more noticeable when I was trying to meditate.
Like pain in your legs and
The toothache, or and now it seems dissipated now that I'm not trying to focus.
sometimes what happens is, certain distractions that we actually experience when we are trying to meditate, it's called karmic experiences as well. Certain karmic imbalances that we've had from different lives and different experiences suddenly comes as a hindrance just before us, making it difficult to surpass this. So there are also karmic imbalances which might come up when you start to meditate. And actually the best way to get out of this is actually to recite or think about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the real essence of it. When you start to concentrate better on this, you're able to energize yourself with that type of strong energy, which helps you to focus better, to exactly take to the right point. So I would recommend that. If you do know the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the Sutra, the Gathas on that, it is a very powerful beam which actually falls around you as a protection. Yes.
So, when somebody is sitting in a lotus position and if he or she feels a little pain in legs, so what can be the other way so that
There is no problem. You see, when you start to concentrate on breathing or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't move your legs or you shouldn't shake your body, or you should try, I'm trying to focus on being on that particular position. No, it doesn't have to be like that. You can start with this, but if you do have the pain or anything like that, slightly move your legs and come back to it. But through this, try to concentrate on the breathing and letting go of it and getting all the negative energies out of your system and inhaling the pureness. That is I have done the very basic, the very first step of meditation, but it has a lot of other techniques and deeper ways of analyzing desire and analyzing delusion and the ways of that, but that is very deep meditations. This was just a invitation, but that doesn't mean that you need to sit on this exact position and be uncomfortable with it, because the moment that happens is you're actually concentrating on being uncomfortable rather than being comfortable and trying to focus on the breathing. Okay, so just move your legs and be comfortable. That's no problem at all. But this position aligns your body in a complete balance which helps after practicing meditation for some time. It helps a complete breathing system, which helps the focusing system. And the focusing system helps to concentrate better, and through the concentration, you gain wisdom. We do all of this to gain the wisdom, but I didn't come to that part because we are having a very small session at the moment. We are doing all of this to able to see through the transparency as well, which gains the wisdom. Okay. Okay, I think we may be able to conclude our session, but I'd like to say.
After the Dhamma talk, feel free to go up to the house. It's typically open after the Dhamma talk, and help yourself to any coffee, tea, and there's usually sweets provided as well. All the things to help keep you awake at night. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And I have bought some books with me, which are, of course, given as a gift of Dhamma to everybody. These are printed in Sri Lanka by the help of so many friends in Dhamma, to be given out to the friends in Dhamma in different countries. So all of these are in English, and some the books that I have written. So you're most welcome. We have only few copies, but you're most welcome to take some of that. It's given out as a Dhamma gift to you. So, Theruvan Saranai, may you be guided by the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha to end this path of suffering. Theruvan Saranai.
Kawasaki. You don't. Well, they live in Candy. And they're very into serving the monks there. And I thought maybe you might know them.
Oh, I think I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay,
But I would like to. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.